Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and I have my co-host with me,
Bashar.
and today we are reviewing day one of Pakistan versus India, which is, a shame and also something that's never been done before. This is something that we've never experienced before. So this is going to be an spectacular little bit of a review for the first 24.1 overs of the Pakistan versus India match. Day two in 15 hours, apparently. So if you go to Cricket Info right now, it says Pakistan versus India, it gives you the score, and it says stumps, like it's a test match. So everybody who has been dying for a Pakistan versus India test match, well, here you go. Right? We get one session in. We get one session in, and it rains out. Day two's tomorrow. But before any of that can be discussed, we have a very special announcement, Bashar, and you know about this because we've been working on this behind the scenes for a long time. Our Patreon is now live. This is something that people have wanted for a long time, a community that they can build with, grow with us, get to know us better. So if you're listening to on Spotify, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can go in the description below. You can click on the Patreon link and you can sign up. There's two tiers. The first tier gives you a lot of perks, weekly Q&As. There's a newsletter as well. The second tier, which is a little bit more pricier tier, gives you everything that the first tier gives you, plus monthly Zoom calls live. So you get on a Zoom call with us. You can ask us any questions. We can have a little bit of a hangout for an hour and a half, whatever that may be. And it's just going to be great, man. And the best thing about that is there's going to be things added to all tiers as the Patreon progresses, as the podcast progresses. This is something we're very passionate about. We want to build the community here on YouTube. We want to build the community on Patreon. This is something that was our number one priority when we started this podcast, that we wanted people to discuss things with us back and forwards, disagree with us, all that stuff. So you'll have the opportunity to do that now. Patreon is now live. The first video is dropping soon. Anything you want to say about this before we dive into the Pakistan India game, bro?
Yeah, super excited about this Patreon thing because I think the ultimate goal was to sort of build that community of like-minded people who are, passionate about the game at the same level of us.
Yeah.
So very excited to see where this Patreon thing leads to. We want to be covering, in an ideal scenario, we want to be covering the Pakistan matches live in the stadium. We want to be, having more player interviews. And for that, we need to be in person with the players. And this podcast will give us the opportunity to sort of build that community, build that portfolio of episodes that we need to have, and eventually be in a position to work with teams, leagues, to have these insightful player interviews delivered to you guys.
Yeah. So again, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Everything is live now. What it basically does is it supports our podcast. It makes us functional. And that's very important because we've bled a lot of sweat and tears and money into this podcast without any return. So if you guys want to support us in the most minimalist of ways, you can do that. We do have some fans who send us super thanks on YouTube as well. We really appreciate that. You don't know how much that means to us when you see super thanks come in towards us. That means you just like us a little bit extra more than everybody else. And we respect that. And we really appreciate that. So thank you very much for all of that. Now, the housekeeping is over. Let's dive into the Pakistan-India game. What were your thoughts?
So this is an emergency podcast. Even though it's only like 15 hours for day two, we thought it's really important to sit down, discuss our thoughts because we're watching this game live together, 5:30 a.m. Shout out to the
No coffee either,
American
man.
people.
No coffee. We're just straight up live. And
yeah, a couple of things to notice initially, even before the match starts. The first thing is Babar Azam wins the toss and he bowls first. He bowls first, knowing that India's batting is under pressure, knowing that it's going to be tough to chase runs under lights in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has one of the lowest batting averages for teams chasing for anywhere in the world. And also knowing that India's batting is under pressure, if we put runs on the board batting first, Shaheen, Naseem, Haris, if they take early wickets, we could sort of have India down on their knees. But I think Babar persisted with bowling first. It might have been because of the overcast conditions. He was looking to extract some swing, some movement up front, and maybe make a dent in India's batting like they did the last match. But India had other plans. The first blow that India had was essentially Shreyas Iyer, who was coming back from a lower back injury, again had lower back spasm. So KL Rahul, a person who was again coming back from an injury, comes back into the team. Lots of.
I'm just gonna pause you right there. How much do you believe that Shreyas Iyer genuinely had a lower back spasm and that he wasn't bullied out of the team. Because
You know-
it seems very suspicious the way it all turned out.
Yeah, actually, he was one of the guys who looked pretty good last match, even though he scored like 14 odd runs. But the 3 boundaries he hit were very convincing. I'm not sure if he was bullied out, if there's any conspiracy behind that. I don't know. I can't speak on that. But yeah, just as KL Rahul back in the team. And then we come into the first few overs for Pakistan, the power play. Shaheen Afridi gets hit for a 6 for the first time ever in the first over of an ODI innings by Rohit Sharma. I think Shaheen was looking to get the same sort of dismissal, but every day is not Sunday. I think Rohit was better prepared. They were better, probably practiced a lot better for that in swinging ball of Shaheen, and they sort of managed it pretty well. Thoughts on that?
I think that what actually happened was that India just came with a better plan than they did in the first ODI. They just knew that they wanted to attack and not be on the defensive, not see the players out, see the bowlers out. They wanted to be on the offensive. Even though they tried to do that a few times with Naseem Shah just got the better of them. The first ball that Naseem Shah bowls to Shubman Gill is basically an outer edge that just drops fraction short of Shaheen Shah on third man. Like that's the class of what Naseem Shah was doing. So even though their intent was quite obvious, it didn't always fall through. Shubman technically got dropped 3 times.
That's actually a very important moment in the match, just because of that catch attempt. I think Shaheen hurt his bowling middle finger.
Bowling middle finger on the left.
And you could see he was on the boundary getting treatment for that. And I genuinely feel a lot of his bowling afterwards was affected by his middle finger injury.
But I also, again, people have sort of on social media, because I was live on Twitter as this was happening. People were they were quick to notice how quick Babar Azam was changing players and he was rotating bowlers. Immediately when he realized that Shaheen was not at his best, he was getting whipped by Rohit and by Shubman, he brought him off. He brought Fahim Ashraf in. Now
Shaheen went for 31 in this first 3 overs.
First 3 overs, yes. 31 in the first 3. That's
credit to a lot of counterattack by Shubman Gill himself.
Yeah.
Because Naseem on the other end was bowling very good deliveries to...
Economical bowlings, kind of shorter than length, and they were swinging away and swinging in.
I actually have a problem with that. Like we discussed, the podcast after the India one, or I think maybe before. Naseem's length, I believe, is a bit too short. Like there's a lot of plays and misses. Like when you look at Naseem's ball-to-ball spell, it's like, oh, terrific bowling, unplayable. Wow, he's such a good talent. But ultimately, the wickets card showed no wickets. And Naseem Shah is a wicket-taking bowler. He's not a stock bowler. I feel like he needs to bowl a touch fuller. Like I think he's bowling like the 7 to 8 meter line. He needs to be around the 6 meter line. So he ensures that if the batsman misses the ball, it at least hits the stumps. Like there was one ball in particular where bowled an in-swinger to Rohit Sharma and it went over the stumps.
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma genuinely thought it was going to be an outswinger. It's going to swing away. But because of how skillful Naseem is and how deceptive his bowling action is, the ball pitched and nipped back. Had it been fuller, it would have knocked his middle stumps over. And that's also something I think Wasim Akram mentioned as well, where on commentary that Naseem needs to be a bit more fuller. And I think you'll see more wickets come because of that.
But his wickets column today, at least, was 0, not in spite of him. Like he gave chances.
The drop catch and the slips.
You want to talk about that? Because
Sure.
that was one of the, on Twitter at least, somebody said this is a heritage Pakistan moment. I reminded them of the Shoaib Malik Saeed Ajmal catch, where they both were standing and it just drops in the middle of them. It was kind of like that. So I'll just review what happened. Basically, Naseem Shah bowls quite off. Like it was swinging away from him. It was bowled on like 6 stump to Shubman Gill, swinging away. Shubman slashes at it, gets a thick outer edge. Rizwan sort of jumps to his right, not fully committed to the jump. It was just more of a reactionary jump from Rizwan. He jumps, he drops the jump, and then Salman Ali Agha and Iftikhar are looking at each other as the ball passes between them, and it goes for 4. And at that moment, you're just like, oh, what is this kid supposed to do? And then I think similar over, like the end of that over, another ball edges towards third slip and just goes to third man, or maybe it goes to 4 as well. I'm misremembering that. But like that's the type of spell that Naseem Shah was bowling, which was, it was quick, it was rapid, it was swinging in and out. The ball you mentioned about Rohit Sharma, Rohit had no idea what to do with that one, man. He was nudging it, he was playing it half-handedly, and it just comes in and he couldn't do anything about it. And you're right, it missed the stumps by a few inches, but If the ball was fuller, it would have knocked his middle peg out. Naseem has been in this whole Asia Cup has been phenomenal. His wickets column wouldn't tell you otherwise, but if you just watch a series of highlights, he's just been great. That over that he bowled to Rohit Sharma, I think it was a similar over. A maiden over, Rohit had no idea what to do. Two going out, one coming back in, and then two going out again. He's fishing, he's leaving, he doesn't know which one to leave, he doesn't know which one to touch. It was just a brilliant display of fast bowling. Somebody mentioned how that over from Naseem to Rohit was one of the most beautiful test match overs they've seen in white ball in a very long time. And I agree with that. It was solid test match bowling. But it is at the end of the day one day bowling. And if you don't get those wickets, you can contain them for so long. But like Rohit Sharma was on, he hit a few quick boundaries in the beginning and then he didn't score any runs for 22 balls.
Yeah, but the other part is that Shubman Gill was scoring the bulk of the runs. And I want to talk a lot about India's intent coming into this innings. Almost reminded me of the second T20 in the Asia Cup last year, where India came blistering towards Pakistan. It was Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul just going counter-attack against Naseem Shah, against Haris Rauf. And I think that is exactly how you need to play against Pakistan, because if you go on the defensive, Pakistan will come at you. They'll get on top of you and they won't let you come back. Basically what happened last match. So I think the thing I like about Rohit Sharma's captaincy is he's a very attacking captain. Like ever since Virat Kohli was taken down as captain and Rohit Sharma took over, he has sort of brought in that aggressive approach. Firstly, leading by example by being the aggressor, like hitting Shaheen Afridi for the first six in the first match, first innings of this over, first over of this innings.
No worries.
And just also translating the same confidence, intent into a young player like Shubman Gill. Like I think people often forget, like he is the real deal, right?
And he showed it today.
If you look at Virat Kohli's sort of transformation, it came when he was like 4 to 5 years into his career, like with the fitness thing, with the discipline, with the hard work, with the less partying. Shubman Gill is doing that right now. He is 21 years old, I believe, and averages 63 in ODIs, 400, I believe, a double hundred in ODIs. So people often criticizing like, oh, he's hype, he's this, he's that. He's a real deal, and he showed us today why he is such a good player and why he is, I believe, the next player in world cricket to look out for. You often talk about like players taking on the baton from a Rohit Sharma, a Virat Kohli. I think Shubman Gill is that player who will take the legacy of Indian batting forward.
No, and 100%. And he showed his class today. He got trolled a lot in the last ODI, which I kind of thought was unfair criticism. I mean, people will troll all the time. That's not what I'm worried about, and I don't think he is either. But people were genuinely like, "Oh, this is the type of player that he is. He's all hype." And I was in that moment also a little bit wary about that sort of criticism. Like on the day, he was beat through and through from Pakistani bowlers. Like there's no doubt about that on that first ODI in the Asia Cup. But this one, he came with the plan. He came in with his intent, and he showed the class that he has. But at the same time, the way he got dismissed is also the class that we have. Like you have to go, it comes hand in hand, right? If you want to discuss it, we'll talk about the 2 wickets that fell, because those were very important wickets, because the Indian team was sort of taking the game away from Pakistan and Babar Azam's boys. And that's what I want to talk about real quickly as well, is Babar Azam's counterattack when he was getting beat and he was being cornered. I think Babar Azam did some really exceptional captaincy in this game. You might have other opinions, because
I disagree.
Yeah, because we were watching the game together and I could verbally hear you grunt every time something was happening. But I was on the other end of that, which I thought Babar's captaincy was a lot more mature, a lot more aggressive, a lot more match awareness. Like the first thing that I mentioned was he noticed that Shaheen was going for runs, and Shaheen is your prime bowler. You take him off immediately. You bring in Fahim Ashraf, who's the container. You don't want runs to leak. You want to make sure that in the beginning they don't sort of run away with the match. This is why I think the argument that you and I had between the game was you were like the Haris should have come, right?
Fahim Ashraf, let's be honest here. Let's be very transparent. Fahim Ashraf is a container. He's a stock bowler. He is not a wicket taking option. At that moment, you needed wickets in order to contain runs, and you had noticed once we got Shubman out, once you got Rohit out, the run scoring dipped immediately. So, lesson learned: you contain runs by taking wickets. Haris Shroff was your man of the match. Last match, he took 4 wickets. He's been the highest wicket taker of this Asia Cup so far. Or I think it's Shaheen, but he's one of the top 3 wicket takers. And you're bringing him in the 12th over of the match. Why? Like you need to go for wickets. You only stop the scoring rate by taking wickets, and Haris Shroff is a wicket taking option. It's sort of like when I captain my my league team here, my club team in Canada. I try to look for opportunities where, okay, if the team is like a couple of wickets down, I can sneak in and over from this guy, give him an opportunity. But this is the Pakistan team. You're looking to win matches and not to give or get overs out of Fahim quickly or get overs out of Shadab. You got to go for the kill. You got to go for an attacking approach. I believe 7th, 8th over, you should have brought on Haris Shroff because he is only as good as how early he comes on because he also needs support with the new ball, like semi-new ball. So that's where I really disagree with Babar's mentality of bringing in Haris Shroff, your main bowler, in the 12th over.
Well, if you let me counter that, I think it was a good decision to bring Fahim in because the runs were just scoring at will. Fahim came in, his first over gave 1 run. His second over gave 6 runs. All right. So in that moment, if you bring in a Haris Shroff who's going to be bowling to a set Rohit Sharma and a set Shubman Gill, Shubman had Shubman was at like 30, 40 off 25.
37 ball 50.
Yeah, 37 ball 50, right? That's how quick he was playing. If he comes in and Haris gets whipped by Shubman and gets whipped by Rohit Sharma, Haris is going to go for a lot of runs, man. This guy bowls 150 kilometers an hour every ball. And you just need to touch the ball and it's going to fly to the boundary. And because I think Babar brought Haris later into the game, the 12th, 13th over, because the field then has now opened up. And he can sort of protect the boundaries a little bit more. And you saw that.
Again, defensive approach.
It wasn't defensive.
Let's protect the boundaries.
No,
not go
because
for the wickets.
here's my counter out. If Babar was going for a defensive approach, then he would not have kept Shadab on, who eventually got you that Rohit Sharma wicket.
Well, you don't really have a choice but to have Shadab on because he's your
No, you do.
he's your only main strike spin bowler. And let's talk about Shadab that you mentioned. We spoke extensively on Shadab's bowling form in the last couple of matches. He was only sort of exceptional against Nepal. And then when he came back against the games against India and against Bangladesh, he did not look threatening, went wicketless, and didn't even complete his full quota of 10 overs. So again, here in this match, leaked 31 runs the first 2 overs.
I don't think it was a leak. It was just a
full
badgering.
tosses, short balls, and at this level, a player like Rohit Sharma, almost 10,000 ODI runs, will not let those balls go. And he did not. He capitalized, and he really put the pressure back on Pakistan. And I think we expect better from Shadab. He's the vice captain. His role in the team is sort of a bowling all-rounder. He's not a bowling specialist, but his batting, his fielding, his vice captaincy makes him an integral part of our team. But we need him to step up in these matches where it matters the most and where Pakistan needs it the most. Because had he kept on going for runs, Pakistan would have no choice but to bring on someone like an Salman Al Yaga or an Iftikhar Ahmed. They're off spinners. The off spinning ball coming into the right-hander is a lot easier. So that would have been a different struggle for Pakistan then. It would have been really hard to put a band-aid on those leaking runs.
But this is where I think Babar is sort of respecting Shadab and knowing that he is Shadab Khan, one of your strike bowlers. That's where I think the aggressiveness comes in. Yeah, obviously you have to do some sort of damage control. You can't always be aggressive. I think what you're asking of Babar is that, hey, your prime bowler is getting whipped 31 off 3. You bring your other prime bowler, let him get whipped for 31 off 3. That's not how it's going to be. You need to sort of damage control in that moment. A couple of overs here and there, that's all it needed. Couple of overs damage control. Fahim comes in, stops the runs a little bit. Shadab comes in. Okay, he's getting whipped. Now, the thing about Shadab is he's not a bad bowler. He's not having a bad patch. He's just bowling terribly. Those are very different things. 2 full tosses to Rohit Sharma, he's going to hit you out of the ground. Shadab Khan was lucky that ball did not end up like literally on the road outside of the Premadasa Stadium. Very lucky that didn't happen because Rohit Sharma is that sort of spin player. His pull shot is well known around the world. And I just don't know what's going on with Shadab. Is he trying too much? Is he trying to do like 6 different things in one delivery? Like, I don't know what's going on. The full tosses don't make sense. The half trackers don't make sense. Rohit Sharma is so quick on the ball that even if you pitch it an inch shorter than it's supposed to be, he's going to whip you and that pull shot's going to come in play immediately. So I don't know what's going on with Shadab mentally, but here's what I want to propose. The Shadab that bowled the first 2 overs, and then the Shadab that bowled the next 3 or 4 overs, 2 different bowlers. You have to admit that. The bowler that was bowling to Shubman and Rohit, a completely different bowler than that was bowling to KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. That ball was breaking. That ball was turning. He was giving it the loop. He was feeling the quick fields as well. The first 12 balls, he gave 31 runs or 36 runs, something like that. And the next 4 overs, next 24 balls, he only gave 7 or 8. Something like that. You can quote me, guys.
I think he also bowled a maiden over, right?
He also bowled a maiden over,
yeah.
yes. So that's what I'm saying. Completely different bowlers. And I want the second Shadab more than the first one.
Just technically speaking, what I noticed was the first couple overs, he was just bowling like mid to high 90 kilometers an hour. And then the last 2 overs, he sort of pulled his pace down. Like he was bowling like 85, 86 kilometers an hour.
And that 5 to 6 clicks also makes a huge difference.
Yep. Gave it some loop to the ball. And then
let it turn, man.
Just pitching it in different, like better areas. So I think that's where Shadab needs to sort of keep pursuing. We spoke a lot about how fast bowling is an art. I believe leg spinning is an even greater art. Shane Warne was one of the greatest artists of cricket.
Usman Qadir.
Sorry? What? Hold up, bro. Okay. Cut, reset. Shane Warne. So, yeah, Shadab.
No, I'm going to keep this.
Okay, sure.
I'm 100% going to keep this. Usman Qadir and Shane Warne, the greatest leg spinners the world has ever seen. I've been Abdul Qadir.
So, so leg spinning, again, you need to sort of give it some loop, ball in a good length.
That was a brain fade moment. I'm so sorry, guys. I know people who are driving right now are unsafe because they laugh so hard. Somebody would probably crash. It was like Usman Qadir and Shane Warne, same level. I apologize. I truly apologize.
But yeah, leg spinning is always like a wicket-taking option. We've always heard how Imran Khan used Abdul Qadir back in the day.
You almost slipped up too. Almost Freudian.
Back in the day. So I think Shadab needs to do the same thing. Keep the ball 85, 86 kilometers an hour. Give it some loop. Pitch it the right areas. And just look to ball dot balls, which will eventually build pressure that will get you wickets.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why Shadab Khan is such an important member of Pakistan's bowling attack. Even though he goes for runs, I love the fact that Babar pursued with him, and he came through and he delivered, because that's the type of person he is. We would be remiss to talk about Rohit Sharma's dismissal without talking about Fimu's catch.
Bro, actually, that was an incredible catch.
Talk about it. I need to hear it.
I think so. The idea from Rohit was right. Like he was trying to hit it inside out with the spin, 2-leg spinner. We've seen Virat Kohli and Babar Azam execute that shot to perfection. We spoke about how Babar hit Sandeep Lamachane inside out, cover 6 with the spin. Rohit was trying to do the same thing, but I don't think he realized how quick Rana Fahim Ashraf is on his feet. He covered 10 meters of distance in about like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And he dived, fell on his body, put his body on the line. I think 6 years ago, this Pakistani team would have dropped that catch, and we would have been sitting here furious, screaming and swearing at them. But the boys have clearly worked on their fielding. They look like a complete fielding unit. At least in this game, at least I haven't seen many fielding screw ups. So again, it was a tremendous catch, and all credits to Rana Fahim Ashraf, because that wicket, bringing in Virat Kohli, and then one brings two. We should talk
about Babar's captaincy again, the attacking captaincy. He saw that the wicket came. He saw that finally Shadab gives him the breakthrough. He brings in Shaheen Shah who gives him the next over. He gives him Shubman Gill with a beautiful deceived slower one, very like identical to the wicket of whose wicket was it?
Hardik Pandya.
Hardik Pandya's wicket in the first ODI. It was almost like identical. Just the side changes were different.
Kat Salman on covers.
It's beautiful. I love that. You were sort of critiquing Shaheen's slower one in the first ODI against India. You were like, it's not deceiving enough. It's very obvious that he's gonna do it. I always had the impression that it's so late into the game. Like he decides to do the slower one so late. Like the ball is over your head by the time you realize that he's rolled his fingers, that it's already too late. You've already committed to the shot. Like that's what happened to Hardik Pandya. He was already on the front foot with a hard hand shot, and he came too quick and the ball didn't come in time. Same thing happened with Shubman Gill today. So to deceive Shubman Gill, who's already scored a 50, who's sort of feeling himself in the ground with just a slower ball, that shows the class of Shaheen Shah, really.
Yeah, I was just making the point where I think maybe I've seen Shaheen ball so often where I know exactly when a slow ball is coming. Like when he goes in his action load up, I know because he changes his grip and you can catch the slow ball coming.
Because he just rolls it over like a spin.
Yeah. And then I think it's maybe because of these Indian players not playing Pakistan enough that they don't know how to catch it. Also, I say that because I rate Haris Rove's slower ball a lot better because you literally cannot catch a slower ball. And also his slower ball is like 147 is his quick ball and 127 is his slow ball. So that's a quick like 20 kilometers drop. Very hard to pick. He has some flight in the ball. It dips and it's on a good length. So you can always see him getting wickets off that ball. Take you back to the 2021 T20 World Cup where he took Hardik Pandya's wicket against slower ball. So Shaheen's slower ball is not bad, but he can disguise it better because the more India and Pakistan play with each other, the World Cup game is coming. There's a potential Asia Cup final on the line. They might read him better.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I want to talk about before we signed off, because there's like not a lot that happened, to be honest. This emergency pod was just a way for us to sit down and sort of discuss what's going on. What's happening with Rizwan's judgment behind the wickets?
Shocking. The first review, you see it on camera, and real time I was like, this is not out. Like they should not review this. And then they reviewed it, and I was like, okay, Babar trusted Rizwan with that call. And then the next call that happened, I believe it was Shadab bowling. And then Rizwan was again going up, pleading Babar to review it. And Babar's like, nah, that doesn't look out.
He didn't hear anything.
Bowlers, keeper are often very excited. Also take you back to the Haris Rove LBW decision where Haris is like, that's out. And Babar's like, are you crazy? That's so high.
I love that scene though. That whole moment was so funny to watch because Haris was committed and convinced that this is out. And like anybody with two pairs of eyes could see that was hitting him on top of his pads and was probably going to go over. And that's what Babar was saying to Haris as well. He's like, are you crazy, bro? It hit him on the thigh. And I just love that moment. Like Babar actually had the presence of mind to be like, okay, everybody is very hyped up. Everybody has very high emotions and their aggression is peaked right now. I need to be the one who needs to be calm. And I love that from him. I love to see that he's able to say to his star players, no, I'm not going to go for a review on that.
I just feel like there's a lot going on as a captain for Babar right now, right? Have you ever sat back and think like there's so much going on? Babar's planning for the next over. He's calculating the how many overs left, who balls which overs, how does he finish his bowlers.
There might be rain on the way.
There's the match happening in real time. He has to watch and see if there's an actual review chance or not. So there's just a lot going on. And credits to Babar for being a superhuman and combating everything that is coming his way.
And at the same time, he's scoring 150 runs a game. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
What's next for Pakistan? So India right now is 147 for 2, 24 overs. What's a good total here? How much would you be comfortable chasing under lights in Sri Lanka against quality Indian bowling attack?
I think I would, if I'm being honest, I would rate Pakistan to chase anything under 300.
Yeah.
Even 300 is fine, 310. But anything over 320 now becomes a problem because there's a psychological aspect of that as well, which is 320 it's a monumental task. It's mammoth almost, especially in Colombo where the wicket is double paced. It's sometimes really quick, sometimes really like it's spinning, but then it's not spinning. Like it's really weird. So if Pakistan can contain the Indian batting under 300, 280 even, I think Pakistan, I can bet a lot of money that Pakistan will chase this down.
And there's more rain on the way. So we were just looking at some of the DLS scores that Pakistan would chase. So if Pakistan bats 20 overs, they chase 180, and that's 9 runs and over. So a lot of people in our DMs were saying how the DLS is not fair, doesn't make any sense. It is what it is.
We don't even know how it works. People were asking us how it works, and we're like, we have no clue.
Yeah, we're just the messenger, just passing the information forward. So yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. Very excited. Very disappointed as well because we wake up at 5:30 in the morning, try to watch this match, gets affected by rain, and no surprises. I was prepared because this is just monsoon season in Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah, when it started raining, we went to sleep. We're like, this is stupid.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just, it's sad for the fans, for the broadcasters, for the teams, the players that are involved. We already see very rare India-Pakistan matches, and the ones that we do see get affected by rain like this. Very sad. Wish this Asia Cup had happened somewhere else, maybe in Asia. In the UAE, Pakistan. Wink, wink.
Yo, Karachi was 29 degrees clear and Lahore was 31 degrees clear. At the
Yeah.
moment, it was raining in Colombo. So I think if anyone can bring back a Pakistan-India bilateral series or even bring India to Pakistan, it's the broadcasters because the pressure that Jay Shah is feeling from Star Sports right now, it's immense. That's
Bro,
billions of dollars worth of, I want to say billions, but hundreds of millions of dollars worth. I can bet on that. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of advertisement going down the drain. 2 hour, like 10 hours of cricket reduced to 2 hours. How many ads did you display? Right. So if there's only one entity that can sort of bring this home, it is Star Sports. It is the broadcasters. They have so much money on the line and that's the only thing that BCCI sort of stands on is how much money they make. $2 billion a year or something like that. It's insane amount of money that they generate, and it's only because of the broadcasters. And the broadcasters bring in those advertising revenue, right? It's the way that YouTube works for us as well. So if there's the ones sort of dictating, hey, you need to make better financial decisions or this will tank, I think you'll see a whole different situation because it's not just the Asia Cup that's being screwed up. It's literally the World Cup. Every other day, I'm listening to a news coming out that there's security concerns on this ground, that they want to reschedule that match. Tickets aren't sold. Oh, tickets are being sold in black. Only 5% of tickets for the Pakistan India game was released to the public. Where are the rest? It's 130,000 people in Ahmedabad. Like, what's going on? So it's just a lot of this and that. And because we've been part of ICC events in the past, the 2019 World Cup, we know that this isn't really how it goes. And the mismanagement is shocking. Which is more shocking is that India gets to host 2 more events in the next 8 years. And I think a Champions Trophy and another World Cup. So if that's how it's going to be, then it's going to be really difficult for us to enjoy the cricket because there were ways to combat this, which were not taken for X amount of reasons. So it's just sad, man. It's sad.
And also because like now this is backfiring to India because so India played today, they're playing tomorrow, the reserve day, and then they have a game against Sri Lanka on Tuesday. So back to back matches with no rest. And
so technically, if India bowls tomorrow second innings and then bowls first innings on Sunday, they're going to be bowling 100 overs in less than 24 hours.
Exactly.
It's worse than test matches.
And this is a Bumrah who's bowling, who's coming back from injury. There's KL Rahul coming back from injury. Just hot, humid conditions. You wouldn't want your best players to be under the pump before a World Cup this way. So it's just very sad overall.
I wanted to play some scenario games real quick. So let's say if Pakistan's game tomorrow gets rained out as well. Pakistan shared points, right? Pakistan now has 3 points. And let's say it's a Wednesday's game also gets rained out. Sri Lanka has 3 points. What happens then? So is India knocked out?
So India has 2 more games, right? So they're playing Sri Lanka and Bangladesh.
Oh, okay, true. So
right?
Maybe they could win over Bangladesh and then get those 4 points. And then between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, whoever wins gets.
But because of the scheduling, because of how the rain is affecting it, the whole goal of this Asia Cup, you all know, is for India, Pakistan to play 3 times. If there's one upset, if Sri Lanka beats India or Pakistan, Sri Lanka is going to be in the finals.
Yeah.
That's what happened last time, right? They were banking on India to beat Sri Lanka the last Asia Cup. Sri Lanka upsets India. They make it to the final and they are underdogs who win the tournament. 15 years of Asia Cups and India, Pakistan have not played each other in the finals. And let's see if this happens this year.
It's tough. It's looking tough. And like speaking of plans that were ruined for the India-Pakistan game and the broadcasting situation, we were planning to go live after the India-Pakistan game, but the game we sort of went to sleep at 8 o'clock and we woke up at noon. So that's something that's also has disturbed it. A lot of broadcasters pay us to go live. I'm just joking. But a lot of people wanted us to go live for a long time as well, and we thought that today would be a really good chance to get that experiment on the way, how it works, how it doesn't work. So I'll announce this right now. If there's a full complete game tomorrow, we will come live on YouTube. And we'll take, for an hour, we'll take super chats, we'll take comments, we'll discuss what's going on, what's not going on in the world of cricket and in the world of the India-Pakistan game. Whatever happens tomorrow, we will be live. If Pakistan wins, if Pakistan loses, we will be here. But the only caveat is that it has to be a full game. We don't want to come out and when it's just like in 10 overs were bowled and then it got rained out again. There's nothing to say. We're just trying to fill time here as well. So I think that was a good episode. We did a good 35 minutes. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we leave?
No, I think I'm good. I think just hoping that there's a game tomorrow and we have a result and just looking forward to it.
That'll be all from our side, guys. Thank you very much for watching, listening, whatever you guys are doing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We actually reply to most of our comments. If you're being respectful and you're being kind, we do that. Also, definitely check out our Patreon. It's going to be linked into the description below. Let us know what else you guys want for exclusives on Patreon, tiers 1 and tiers 2. If there's anything else we could do better, let us know that as well. And let us know if you guys are excited about our live tomorrow, because we know that we are. Anyways, this is Najar Sayed signing off for day 1 of the India-Pakistan ODI match. Let us know what else you guys need from us, and we'll oblige real quickly. Bashar, sign off.
Yeah, this is Bashar signing off, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the India-Pakistan ODI match.
Take care, guys.